front of the truck, you want to look under the truck. You want to make sure there's nothing leaking. So you want to look for leaks. Make sure the truck's sitting level, but you can see that. You also want to check all of your lights, lamps, and reflectors. From this vantage point with the hood up, it's kind of hard to see, but if you look over the top, you can see that. And you want to make sure they're the proper color, which is orange on your ticket light.
They call it amber, but
yeah,
it's orange.
Yeah. So you also want to make sure that none of them are cracked, loose, missing. Now, first thing we're going to do is come over to the passenger side. Okay, at the passenger side, what we're going to do, we're going to do a general overview. And look, you want to check all your radiator lines. Okay, this right here is coolant and air running to bringing in air for the turbo. But you want to check all your rubber hoses. You want to make sure these are not cracked, damaged, loose. No abrasions, bumps, or cuts, and they are not leaking any fluids. You also want to check your water pump, which happens to be, I'm not sure, okay, right here you have a, this is the AC.
Yes.
Okay, you want to check all your radiator hoses. Make sure they have no abrasions, bumps, or cuts. They're not leaking. The water pump will be on the driver's side. We'll get to that. And pretty much what it is, it's a general overview of everything. You want to check the alternator, which is down here. You want to check the belt for tightness. No more than 3/4 of an inch of play. That's good. This tensioner up here, you want to kind of check it too. It's tight, properly mounted, secured. Look at the actual condition of the belt itself, and as you can see, the belt's in great condition. Okay. I'm going to check the exhaust here. You see, running from the turbo. It's in good shape. All the welds look in great shape. Nothing rusted out or anything like that. Everything looks good. All right, we're going to move over to the driver's side.
We've got a truck idling over here, so we're going to talk a little bit louder.
Yeah. So on the driver's side now, it asks, well, the first thing I want to do, the water pump right here. You want to check your hoses coming off of it. Your clamps are in place. Abrasions, bumps, or cuts, cracked, damaged, loose, missing, leaking. Any of those, you want to check that. You want to check the hose running from your reservoir up here. You want to check your reservoir limit. You're at your top level. Okay, you want to check your hoses, your clamps, all that stuff. You want to check for abrasions, bumps, or cuts to make sure that is properly mounted, secured also, which would be checking the clamps. And there's no leaks. I see no indication of any fluid anywhere. All right. You also, we're over here. Where are we going now? You want to check? We're going to check the oil cap. That is properly mounted, secured, in place. Now, we're going to check the oil. First thing you want to do is let your engine turn off and let it sit for at least 5 minutes before checking the oil. That way, the oil settles back down in the oil pan and you can get a proper level. You want to take it out and wipe it first and then pull it out. And as you can see, it's sitting right on max. And our oil was just changed about already like 30,000 miles ago. We run, because we're teens, we get a lot of miles. All right. Power steering. Okay. Power steering reservoir. You want to check the hoses, make sure the pump, the reservoir itself, you want to make sure it's not cracked, damaged, leaking. The level is correct, which is sitting at the perfect level. The caps are tight. The hoses, you want to make sure they're not cracked, damaged, or loose. All the clamps are properly secured, and then no abrasions, bumps, or cuts. Okay. Power steering pump itself. I'll run back. Hose runs back to here. It's actually sitting down there. It's hard to get to, but it is down there. just want to look at the lines running in, make sure they're not cracked, damaged, loose, or leaking, and there's no abrasions, bumps, or cuts, and everything seems to be fine running in. It's properly mounted, secured. Okay. Now the air compressor on this is very hard to get to. It is all the way back in the back there, but if you look closely under the frame right here, you have a line running all the way back there, and you can actually see it running up. And it looks properly mounted, secured in place. Everything seems to be okay. And also, I kind of want to mention one thing, that this checklist I got is a general checklist. Sometimes things are on different sides of different trucks. Depends on what truck. Okay, the power steering pump. Everything is good with that. All right. Now, steering box is what we're going to get to next. Steering gearbox and hoses. I kind of looked over that already because I was checking the reservoir itself. Everything's properly mounted, secured. Steering column itself, everything is, the linkage is hooked up. It doesn't have excessive amount of play in it. I believe it's more than 10 degrees.
That's right.
Now I'm going to look down here at the fitment arm. Bolts are properly mounted, secured. It does look like there's a little grease around here, but that's from the gear itself being greased up. It doesn't leak. It's not any fluid leaking. Down here you got your castle nut and cotter pin, and the linkage here, which is your drag link. Go and check your bushings, make sure they're not busted or anything, and they seem to be okay. Right here you got a castle nut and cotter pin running into your steering arm and knuckle, which runs up in here. All that is properly mounted. Okay. Now we've got your tie rod also. You want to check your tie rod down there and make sure the connection is okay. It looks properly mounted, secure, and it's not bent. You want to check your leaf springs. We'll get to that. Right here, we want to check your leaf springs. And everything that I'm doing here, past the steering, you're going to do on both sides. You got to check everything. The leaf spring properly mounted, U-bolts properly mounted, the shock itself properly mounted, secured. It is not leaking any fluid, it's not cracked or damaged. Also, you want to look at that hanger down there and support. Make sure your bolts seem to be properly mounted, secured again, which they are. All right. Now we're going to move over to the other side. Okay. Now the reason I moved over to this side, it's a little easier to deal with. You want to do this on both sides. I mean, obviously, that's part of you got two wheels, so you got to check everything. What we're going to check now is you got your ABS wire running in. That's a small wire right here. And then you got your airline running in. And then you're going to have fittings, clamps, and you have no abrasions, bumps, or cuts on your airlines. You know, this is not split anywhere. It seems to be mounted. It's not wore out. You want to check your fittings and clamps and everything. Now this right here, your brake chamber, you want to check it. Your clamp is fine. Everything is good. Looks great. Looks in great shape. All the bolts in the back are secured. Now, when we get to the brakes on this is disc brake. Which I want to tell you this: disc brakes are so much better than drum brakes. But the thing is, you really got to get it under here to check just how much brake pad you have. You have to get literally under the truck. Everything is good on here. It's been inspected recently. If something was wrong with the front brakes or any kind of warping of the rim, you're definitely going to feel it in the steering wheel. That's things you need to pay attention to. This does not have, because of disc brakes, an adjustment on it. Now your tie rod over here, speaking of the castle nut and cotter pin, are in place on this side, and the bushings look great. So also the disc itself looks great. It's mirror clean across it. You can see that. All right.
And that should be at least 1/4 of an inch of pad.
Yes, I believe so. I'm not sure. I have to check on that
It's
with
a
disc
quarter and
brakes.
eight.
Huh? I think it's a quarter inch. I had to check that with disc brakes. That could possibly be different. You know, I'll have to look into that. All right, and you also want to make sure there's no, on the brake pads, there's no wet grease or anything like that around that. All right, next thing we're moving on to in the book, all right, the inner rim itself. We want to make sure that it's not cracked, damaged, nothing seems loose, and there's no illegal welds. Next, you'll move to the inner sidewall of the tire. You want to look to make sure that is no abrasions, bumps or cuts, or illegal patches. And it's properly mounted, secured to the rim. That means you just kind of look around. Obviously, it's okay. But what you want to look for is some kind of hit on it. That's like you hit something on the road, it's got a deep cut in it.
Or a gouge.
Or a gouge, or missing any rubber or anything, or any warping in it. That's another thing to look for. The sidewalls can go out like they have, you know, support in them. And you see any kind of warping in it, you need to get a new tire, definitely. Okay, now the tire tread itself, everything, as you can see, there is no uneven wear on it. It's completely smooth from side to side.
These cannot be retreads.
No retreads on these. Okay, checking what you want to do is you want to check where it seems like it's been worn the most. And it's evenly worn, but you want to check if it looks a little bit, maybe a little bit shorter. And what we have is 12-30 seconds, which you can't have no less than 4-30 seconds on the front tire. So 12-30 seconds is plenty. Now, we're going to move to the outer side for no abrasions, bumps, or cuts. Kind of the same thing as the inner wall. You want to make sure there's no gouges out of it. It's no bubbles coming out. I call them bubbles. It's like warp, you know, when it's wearing out. That's fine. Everything looks good on that. No illegal patches, and properly mounted, secured to the rim, obviously. You want to check your lug nuts here. You want to check for any rust bleeding from these, which could be a sign that they're loose. You want to make sure they're all seen to be tight, which they are, and they're torqued. All right. From there, you want to check your. Oh yeah, nothing's cracked, damaged, or loose, and nothing's missing on here. No sign of rust or metal shavings. If you see metal shavings around this anywhere, you need to get it checked immediately. You do not want to lose the front tire. Also, you want to check your wheel hub right here, and it's probably mounted secure, and crack damaged or leaking, and it's at proper level.
There is a sight glass on some of those, but I don't know about these.
Now, you see that right there, right? That's something that I need to get checked, obviously. That's the whole reason we do this. Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's like where they fill it up. We'll have it checked out, because I got to go get a bolt for thing anyway, but we'll have it looked at. I mean, when you put in miles, so many miles, you get things that leak. This is your fill point right here, apparently. Okay. That seems to be okay. All right, also, one thing you want to check, your valve stem down here. So the cap is on there. It's properly mounted, secured on the valve stem, and check that pressure. As you can see, front tire is sitting at about 110 PSI. That's what our company requires. I'm going to go walk around and do the same thing to the other tire. Just to check. Sitting at the same thing at 110. Do one side over here, do both sides. We've already went through the whole thing. So first thing we do a general overview. We're going to look, make sure there's nothing cracked, damaged, or loose. All lights, lens, and reflectors are properly mounted and secure, and they're clean and the proper color. We got our parking light and our blinker right there. We've already checked all those lights. mirror is properly mounted security. There's no cracks in the mirror. We'll get to that when we do the in-cab inspection. Everything looks good. Hey, buddy, what you doing?
Your puppy is properly mounted and secured.
Yes.
Not cracked, damaged, loose, or leaking.
Okay.
Well, maybe leaking a little.
Over here on our truck, we have the Bendex. It's a side radar. You want to make sure it's clean, which it is. It's kind of dirty, but it's not blocked by anything. This tells us if a vehicle is here when we kick on our blinker. That'll let you know there's a vehicle on the right side of you, which comes in handy. I mean, it's a safety thing. Did the mirrors not crack damage, loose, clean, properly adjusted, no legal stickers to obstruct my view. Doors open and shut properly. And nothing is cracked down. Weather seal is okay. There's no abrasions, bumps, or cuts. Now, when we clean our truck, a lot of times I put armor on these just to keep them in good shape. Everything's okay. Look, buddy. Yep. So, everything looks good over here. We're gonna move on. Now, the fuel tank, we'll have to get over here. You want to make sure your fuel tank's properly mounted and secured. As you can see, you got your hanger there. Everything looks fine. All the bolts are in place. You want to look for it's not cracked, damage, or loose. You want to look leaking, and the level. We have a fuel gauge. So, all right. You also want to step back and just make sure there's no sign of leaking any kind of fuel, because there's nothing under there. You want to check the steps on that side.
One more thing, we're going to check that the cap fits tightly and the rubber seal inside of it is properly mounted and secured. No cracks, damage, anything.
This one, yes. Fuel cap here. Got your rubber seal, got your chain. Snaps on. It's not a screw-on one. It's actually locks on like that. You want to check the steps over there. Make sure they're properly mounted, secured, free from loose objects that may trip you. Okay. Now we're going to do the back of the truck in front of the trailer. A general overview from top to bottom. Everything seems no crack, damage, or loose. Everything is properly mounted, secured. Lights and reflectors are clean in the proper color. You have your white reverse light. And I just checked it earlier, so I know it works. The bulkhead has no holes. See holes? See holes?
Any holes? No.
Exhaust is properly mounted, secured. We don't have stacks. We have that little exhaust right at the bottom. As you can see, it's properly mounted, secured. The drive shaft, properly mounted, secured. You see the U-joint, everything is properly mounted. Back here is properly mounted, as you can see. Okay. Now, you want to check the frame here. Make sure it's not cracked, damaged, loose, or bent. And all the U-joints are not cracked, damaged, loose, and show no excessive wear and no debris. Now, as you can see, everything looks actually pretty good back here. It is a little dirty, but it's not excessive. That's on the, drive shaft. Cross members are properly mounted secured. These are your cross members. You want to check those. All the bolts are in place. Everything's properly mounted secured. You can check the ones on the inside there. You want to check the plate here, make sure it's properly mounted secured.
Yeah, catwalk.
Okay, so now we're moving on to the coupling, and we're going to let Laura do the rest of this, or this part of it. All right.
The coupling system has several components that you need to know. If you're taking your CDL test, you have to know the coupling system. So we start with a general overview, top to bottom. There's nothing cracked, damaged, loose. Everything's properly mounted and secure. Lenses, lamps, and reflectors are clean in the proper color. I have the proper distance my tractors in the landing gear.
Okay.
Airlines have no abrasions, bumps, or cuts, are properly mounted and secured.
We have to go over to that side.
We move over to this side because it's easier to see what I'm talking about here.
You can check the lines.
The airlines, the blue being your service line, red being emergency. Don't get those mixed up because
I don't know.
it can cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, we told that in the story, remember?
Very expensive. The green is your electrical, of course. The bulkhead we already kind of looked at, but it does not have any holes. Exhaust we looked at. Oh, I'm down here. So we're gonna look at the glad hands, making sure the rubber seals, they're not cracked, damaged, they're on there securely. We're gonna look at this one also. That looks good. And we'll do this for both the emergency line and the service line. Let's see. Electrical wire. Side skirts are these things. I'm not sure why this is included in coupling.
Just leave it out.
Okay.
We're not going to talk about that. We'll get to that.
Apron. You look underneath this big flat metal piece is your apron. It's not cracked, damaged, loose. There's no gap between the apron and your fifth wheel skid plate. The skid plate itself is not cracked, damaged, or loose and is properly greased.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Most of the time, you're going to have to check that when you're doing your coupling from a different trailer. Always just make sure you can buy packs of grease at any truck stop. Best way to do it is buy the packs of grease, throw them on the fifth wheel, and right before you slide on your trailer, it'll smear it all over your fifth wheel and be good to go. All right.
So next we have the platform. That's this piece of angle iron right here that's bolted in, running this vertically. We're gonna make sure it's not cracked, damaged, or loose. The sliding fifth wheel track is properly mounted and secured.
Yes.
And not missing any mounting bolts.
Now, on our truck and our company, they have a fifth wheel locked. There's no way we can move it. It is bolted down. Just for your information, so you know.
And your slider pin is in the locked position.
Yes.
Your pull pin and safety latch
Right there.
are not cracked, damaged, loose, and are in the locked position.
Yes.
So you look at the kingpin, you have to kind of get under the trailer over here. The kingpin is attached to the apron of the trailer. And it is what slides right into the fifth wheel there and keeps the trailer attached.
As you can see,
And the locking jaws are important. The locking jaws are this shackle that comes and locks the kingpin into place.
as you can see, it is in place. It is clear across that. It is locked.
Right. So I think that completes the coupling. We are at the rear of the tractor, and this would be easier if the trailer wasn't attached. But in order to do this, we have to kind of get a bung wrench to see all the parts. So start with the torque arm and bushings.
Now we're going to get under here. Go.
Okay.
This is the fun part. If you're, it's a little easier if you're not attached to your trailer, but you can still do it without doing that. Okay. Now, what are we on now?
Torque arms
Your torque arms are right here, as you can see.
and bushings.
Bushings, and you can see the bushings. Look okay.
And then you'll take a look at the actual axle.
Make sure nothing's cracked.
Nothing's cracked, damaged, loose, or leaky. The airbags are pretty easy to see.
You can see one here.
They're not cracked, damaged, loose, or leaking, and have no abrasions, bumps, or cuts.
Just, but sometimes on the road things can fly up and hit them, and you want to make sure they're okay. And you can see the airbags up there. You got airbags on those too, and you got a torque arm Look, now, I believe you do have a torque arm up there too. You have to get up there to see it.
So we'll move on to the mud flaps. Pretty easy.
Mud flaps are good to go.
And mud flap hangers.
Mud flap hangers, right here.
As well. They aren't torn or dragging the ground.
Nope.
And then we'll move to the suspension. The leaf spring and leaf spring hanger, just like you had on the front of the tractor.
Okay. Now you can see that right here. That they're attached properly. You also have your shocks. You want to make sure those are not damaged or leaking. And you want to go check every single one. As for the video, we're just giving you an example of what you're looking at. And you can see under here, you can see the leaf spring running across from there to there and on both sides. You can see everything's probably mounted secure.
And so this is going to be really hard to see. The braking system, the ABS wire and brake hose, fittings and clamps.
There.
They're all pretty well hidden, but they have no abrasions, bumps, or cuts, and are properly mounted and secured.
See the brakes from here, even on this, we have disc brakes.
So we put slack adjuster and push rod on this type of system.
And you can see, as up here, the brake chambers and the clamps. Look, okay.
And then we're going to check our brake pads again. The pads / shoes are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, or loose.
Which I can see.
And it's not more dangerously thin.
Like I said, these don't have shoes. These are disc brakes.
And then the inner wheel itself is not cracked, damaged, loose, and has no illegal welds.
Nope.
We have grease and oil, no excessive gluing. Do you know what gluing is? It's when this kind of metal gets so hot that it changes color.
Yeah, it's got like, it gets a kind of a blue kind of color change to
The
it.
heat causes a chemical reaction, and you'll see kind of a bluish silver sheen.
Yeah, it's kind of almost looks like a rainbow, bluish rainbow color.
If you see that, that means your brakes are getting too hot, basically.
Yes. Okay. And as for, once I said, as for the purpose of this video, we're going over just one single area. When you're doing a full PTI like this, post-trip, pre-trip, this is something you do to go like deep into it and look and make sure everything's fine. You want to do obviously every single set of tires on here. We're doing one set just to give an overview of everything.
I think DOT, I've heard, is toughest on tires.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And as you can see, our tires look quite well, have plenty of grip. We'll check those when we get to that.
And here we are. The inner tire has no abrasions, bumps, or cuts, or illegal patches, just like the front.
None at all. Okay.
Tire tread is not unevenly worn.
Tire tread is nice.
And back here, you have to have at least 2/32 of an inch.
As you can see, I don't even have to check that with a gauge. That's like at least a ½ inch of tread, so we're good on those. You know, if you've been driving for a while, you know when it's too damn low. And if you're with a company like mine, they're not going to let them get that low. They're going to replace them before they fix it. Okay?
Okay, you're going to check the space between these dual tires. That's called the butt spacing, B-U-D-T. There's proper space between them, nothing stuck up between them, and
Nope.
they are not touching.
Nope. And the rims, you want to make sure those rims right there, they're completely flush with each other. If you see any gap in there at all, you want to have, something is wrong, you need to get it fixed.
Right. So that's it for, I think, in here.
No, we gotta check.
The outside
Hold on.
tire.
No, we gotta check. First of all, we gotta check the inside of this, make sure there's crack damage or loose on the rim, no illegal welds, abrasions, bumps, or cuts on both of these inner walls. You want to check the same thing on that rim right there. You want to check the tread on this. You're going to come to the outside of the tire and you're going to check abrasions, bumps, or cuts, crack, damage, or loose, no illegal welds, is properly mounted, secured. You want to check all your nuts. You're going to look for any signs of rust or metal shavings. Everything seems to be tight. You want to check this inner hub, all these bolts. Now they've been having problems with recalls on these Freightliners about these inner hubs right here. So I've been, kind of checking these on a daily basis. Just walk by and check and look for leaking or any of these bolts coming loose. I think some of them managed to make it out of the factory with these being loose, and they drained out obviously and caused the hub to wear out. Also, you want to check your airline right here. Make sure your cap is properly mounted, secured. You also want to check the other line. And as far as the other airline, you can see the airline is in there, and it's got a cap and it's properly mounted, secured. The cap is. Sometimes I've seen the lines running out where you can reach them from this side. All right, we're gonna go to the other side.
So now we're gonna move on to the trailer finally. General overview of the side of the trailer. From top to bottom, nothing is cracked, damaged, loose, leaking. There are no obvious holes in it, no holes at all. We're gonna look at all the lenses, lamps, and reflectors. They're clean and the proper colors. We're gonna look at reflective tape. Gotta have that tape.
There's your DOT tape.
Landing gear, right here. Landing gear entails this whole setup right here. Landing gear, its cross member and braces are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, loose, and all bolts are present. We'll look at the feet, feet. This is foot, this is feet. Making sure it is not cracked, damaged, loose, properly mounted, secured. The landing gear should be all the way up and working properly, and the handle on the other side is properly mounted and secured.
Which it is. We're all right.
Let's see. Trailer airlines.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, we should look here.
Now the trailer airlines on this are running up inside of, like you can see them on that side, they're running up through there. They're mounted up and they come back down there at the end.
Those are, of course, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, damaged, loose, or leaking, no abrasions, bumps, or cuts, and are at least 18 inches off the ground.
Oh yes. Okay, yeah. So we're going down here. We do have a side skirt, and I want to point something out while we're here. And I'm about to get this fixed. I gotta find a bolt to fix it. But as you can see, that is not properly mounted and secured, and DOT will get my ass for that if I don't mount it. So I'm going to get a bolt and hook it back up to that piece right there. They have these little rivets that hold them in place and they wear out and pop off, and so I'm going to get a bolt and remount that and make sure it is properly mounted and secured. Now back to these airlines. Yes, you can see the airline, the blue and red coming in to there and coming in, and it's got the spring hangers properly mounted and secured, and they're at least 18 inches off the ground. You want to be under the trailer, get a good look at it, and check all the support beams from front to back. And as you can see, they all look fine. There's nothing wrong with it. One thing you don't want to hear is a big ass bang and come out and see a forklift sitting on the ground because you had a loose member or something and it couldn't support it and all that weight fell through. Somebody gets hurt. So you need to check that on every trailer you pick up. Give it a good look, make sure everything looks good, it's not rusted out or anything like that. Also make sure there are no holes visible in the bottom of the trailer, anywhere in the trailer really, because especially with like food grade loads, they want it completely sealed, no holes. Oh yes, yes, definitely. Okay.
So now it's here.
I'm probably gonna have to get under.
This is a sliding tandem and frame.
Yes.
We're gonna make sure there are four locking pins.
Yep, one.
Back here
too.
Same on the other side?
Same on the other side. We'll walk around and check those. Make sure they are all the way out and in the lock position, yes.
The handle or the button you press.
We can walk around and show that.
Yeah. All right. Like we said, over here will be either the button thing you pull or a handle. And the handles are terrible.
Yes. The handles are sometimes a pain in the butt, so it's so nice when you do have the air activated pin release. There's the pins over here. They are out, probably about they're completely out in place and locked in place.
We may have to get up under here to see the torsion bar.
Go for it.
Oh my god. Where's the torsion bar?
Where's the torsion bar? It doesn't look like that. The system might not have that in place, but you do have support beams running clear across from side to side, as you can see that. Okay.
The suspension we've already mentioned.
Yes,
The spring hanger and shackle.
It's back here. You actually don't have all that. You have an air ride system back here.
Correct.
You have airbags. You want to check, make sure those
Also,
are charged. When you charge the system, you want to listen for air leaks, which is kind of something you do in a quick or a PTI when you do a general overview.
Take a look at the shocks. Same deal as the front.
You want to make sure they're not crack damaged. You want to make sure the bolts are not loose. You want to make sure there is no fluid at all leaking out of them, and they all do look okay. All right.
We will move on to the brake system.
Yes.
You're going to check the brakes on every set of tires you have.
Right here, you have your brake chamber. You have your clamp. Is it properly in place?
Yes.
And also on these, you do have the brake adjustments on these. You want to make sure there's
slack
no
adjuster
slack
and push
adjusters and a push rod. You make sure they're properly mounted secure. They have a cotter pin on the backside. You want to make sure they do not have more than an inch of
Correct.
Okay.
The brake drum and brake pads,
Yes.
probably not as secure, not crack damage loose. The pad is not more dangerously thin.
Now you can see that on this one. You have plenty of pad left on these. They are locked right now because the trailer has no air to it, so the springs are activated. As you can see on that side, there's plenty of brake pad. You have just kind of go around and look at every one. Like I said, we're just doing an overview of what you have to do for a deep look at it.
And while you're looking in that area, you will check the inner wheel, not crack, damage, loose, no illegal welds, and it's free of grease and oil
Yes.
and no excessive bluing.
Yep.
Once again there.
Same thing on all of the other ones.
Inner tire, look at the sidewalls, no abrasions, bumps, cuts, or illegal patches.
Everything looks good.
Then we will move to the treads. No uneven wear, and a minimum of 2/32 of an inch.
Yep. And you can see that goes, that's about fingernail deep. Some of these are a little less, but I can tell you that right now that's over 2/32. Okay.
And then we'll look at the bud spacing once again.
That's on
proper
the-
space between those two tires.
Yep. And you want to make sure those rims are completely butted up to each other. And you want to make sure on the inner rim it's not crack damage loose. There's no welds, illegal welds. You make sure there's no bluing, and you want to make sure the inner wall has no abrasions, bumps, or cuts.
There's no debris between them, and they're not touching.
Yes. And as you can see, the same thing on the inside of this one as you did the other one. And then we can move on to the outside after that.
Let me just say, you really need to keep an eye on the treads on these. They're most often retreaded, and they have an affinity for blowing out on
Yes,
the thing.
they love to fly off, cause road gators. Ugh. All right. Now, with the air pressure on these tires, these are auto inflates.
Right.
So there is no like check, you know, you're not going to be able to check them like you would other tires. They also, on these tires, have these locks on them, on the bolts, so they cannot turn. It keeps them from getting loose and wearing out. But you can see there's no rust, there's no metal shavings. The hub looks good. The tire itself, the rim's a little dirty, but it's in great shape. There is no crack damage, loose. It is properly mounted, secured. The outside, there's no abrasions, bumps, or cuts. But I did find something that I want to look at and I want to show you. This right here is what I was talking about on those front tires having
oh yeah, that's
a ripple in it. As you can see right here, there is a ripple in that. So, you know, this tire might need to get checked out soon. All right, now you want to do the same thing on every single tire. Okay.
We're gonna do also air pressure on all of these. It needs to be above 100 PSI.
These are auto inflates. You cannot do that.
Oh, that's right.
They're auto
You can't
inflates.
check those.
These have a system that keeps them inflated to the proper pressure.
If you do not have this system, you can check
Yes.
with a tire gauge.
Yes.
Back of the trailer.
Mud flaps.
Well, I put that with the bag.
Okay.
The mud flaps.
Yes.
Are
You'll make sure the hangers.
back damage loose.
Make sure
Properly
that.
mounted and secured and not dragging the ground.
Make sure the hangers are okay.
Yes.
And back here, while you're back here, you can give a double check on your suspension, which is looking at your airbags. And you can also see your brakes better back here from this side. So it's just kind of something. It just depends on how you want to do it, how dirty you want to get, which way you want to look at it. It's all up to you. And also, I kind of look at my rail for my tandem when I slide it. And just kind of, you might want to sometimes spray some WD-40 on the inside of it to help you slide your tandems, because some of these old trailers, it can be a pain in the butt. Keep yourself a hammer and keep yourself a bottle of WD-40 or the other brand of stuff, because it'll come in handy with them tandems. Sometimes you got to get that hammer out and knock a pin in. You just got to knock it in because it just won't go in. So you can hit it, spray some WD-40 on the rails, and next thing you know, you're in business. So, alrighty. Now you're gonna check that's your ABS light lens. None of that's cracked, damaged, loose. Everything is, it's the right color.
It should come on and go off, right?
Yes, that's right. Now back here, you're gonna check your lights, of course. Now we did that on the front. We were talking about the lights, lens, and reflectors. You know, that's something, our lights on the front. The system will actually let us know when we have a light out. And it also has, we can engage a check system. It'll light up the brake lights for us, but we just did that recently. It does work. So all the lights, lenses, and reflectors are in place.
And basically, you're just going to check the doors back here. Overall, from top to bottom, nothing is cracked, damaged, or loose. The door itself is not cracked, damaged, or loose. All hinges and latches are properly mounted and secured. Not cracked, damaged, or loose. Doors will open and close properly, which you can't do right now.
When I got to the trailer, it was not sealed. I sealed it, and the doors are fine. And down here, what are we gonna, the DOT bumper?
The DOT bumper. Right?
Yay! We got DOT tape running from
Reflective tape, yes.
both sides, and it is the proper height of,
It doesn't say, I don't know.
I believe it's 36 inches or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I forget the height, but I mean, like, these are controlled trailers. Obviously, if they have the DOT bumper on them, they're correct. You know, it's about the tape and then being at the right height.
One thing that's important also is the tag light. Make sure this little light is working.
As you
They'll
can see,
pull you over for that, whether it be a four-wheeler or a truck.
Yep, you can see the tag light is working. All right, now.
I think that's it.
All right, then the last thing we're going to do is cab inspection, and we'll get that next.
So here, I'm going to start our in-cabs pre-trip inspection. This is something you will do every day before you take off and every day after you finish. So the three safety items are 3 red triangles in good working condition.
Which we have.
Fire extinguisher.
It's in our some fire extinguishers are beside the seat.
Right here.
Some are like ours that are on the side door that goes under the bunk, the bottom bunk, and that's where our triangles are, and they are in there, and they're probably mount secured also. They're actually bolted down.
As well as the fire extinguisher,
Yes.
same deal.
Same deal.
Properly mounted and secured.
And check it and make sure it's charged properly.
Yes.
And it's been inspected recently.
It says is 10 BC or better.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And spare fuses are present. We keep ours here just in the side of the door, so they're handy.
Yeah.
Remember to enter the truck using 3 points of contact at all times. They will watch for that.
Turn the truck off.
Just a simple safety measure that you can take to avoid doing like I did and completely falling out of the truck. So you're going to check your seat belt. Properly mounted and secured at the top and the bottom mounts. Fastens and unfastens. I don't know if I have to demonstrate this. You know how it works.
Yay!
Fastens, unfastens. No frays or cuts. As long as it doesn't look janky, I think you're in business.
Yep. Roll that window
Let's
up
see.
so you can hear better. Alrighty.
So, from what I remember, safe start, if you have a manual transmission, is placing the transmission in neutral, pressing in the clutch all the way. What else was there? Was that it?
I believe so.
And then you turn the key and it comes on.
Yeah. Now, obviously.
Foot on the brake.
Yes. Yeah, we have an automated transmission, so yeah.
You're gonna start the truck. Check all your horns.
Start the truck.
City horns. Oh, safe start. So that was my safe start.
Yep.
You're gonna check your city horn. I'm not gonna blow this right now, but your highway horn up here. Just make sure they work. We'll check the driver's side mirror. It's not cracked, damaged, loose. Adjusted properly to me when I'm sitting in the seat driving.
Or me, if I'm sitting in the seat. Fortunately, we don't have to adjust our mirrors. We both kind of sit in a place we both can see.
Yeah, we work, we compromise.
Yeah.
The mirrors, of course, as we said on the other part of the pre-trip inspection, are clean. There are no illegal stickers. We'll check. Oh, this is kind of going from left to right.
Yes, it does.
So, the side mirror, side window, make sure it works.
Yes.
It's not cracked, damaged, loose, leaking. No illegal stickers. We'll check the whole windshield. Not cracked, damaged, loose, leaking. No stickers or obstructions.
You can't have a GPS.
I don't know if that's good.
And the thing is, it's not obstructing the view to both mirrors up front. From that point of view, when you're sitting in the seat, both mirrors are clear sided. And we also have, on this side, we have that Bendex radar also. That helps you when you put your right blinker on. If something's in that, on the side of you, it will warn you with this little device up here. It will beep. It also has lights to let you know that something's in the way. Okay.
We're going to check the weather stripping all the way around the windshield. Just to make sure it's not leaking.
Crack damage.
We had a little leak in one of our previous trucks.
Yes, we did.
And that was not fun. And then we'll go over to the passenger side mirror. Not cracked, damaged, loose, properly adjusted. It's clean and free of stickers.
Yes.
Checking that the passenger side window works.
Works.
And it's not cracked, damaged, loose.
Okay.
We're going to check the light indicators on the dash. So first we'll check the four-way flashers. And you're not actually checking them outside at this point. You're just checking to see that the indicators on the dash are working properly. So those are working properly.
Yes. We have an auto shutdown this truck, so until we put it in the comfort mode. It's going to shut down after 180 seconds. So you have to hit the pedal to reset that.
Right. So going on with indicator lights, I'll check the left signal, the right signal, headlights on. You'll see that little green thing.
Yep.
And high beam indicator works. That'll be the blue one. It's hard to see.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to check these other gauges now. The oil pressure is at its normal operating range, and the gauge is working properly. Ours sits at like 40 to 60.
Yep. Depending on how much what your RPM is, it does move a little bit.
Right. The temperature gauge is building normally. The water.
Yep. Yeah, it's coming up.
It should end up between 170 and 200.
Yep.
Engine RPM, that's the big one right here, is at idle and the gauge is working properly.
Yep.
I'm gonna pump the gas to check that gauge.
Yep.
Got it. Voltage. Our voltage is right here on this main screen, I believe.
Yes. Go back to the other one, scroll up and down.
This one?
Yeah, scroll up. Now, on
There
ours,
we go.
it's not showing the voltage, it's on 10. You can go inside and adjust those and change the gauges that you want there. Our voltage actually shows up on our CB.
Ta-da!
As you can see on the bottom, it will show the voltage here in just 1 second. There you go. We got 14 volts. We're doing good.
Should be between, what, 12 and 14?
Yeah.
Okay. Fuel gauge working properly.
Something like that.
And make sure you have enough fuel.
Yes, do not
go below 3/8 of a tank.
Yeah, always keep it above 3/8. You'll be good to go.
We'll also look at the primary and secondary air gauges.
Yep.
The primary on here is actually the white needle, and then there's a blue needle behind that for the secondary air gauge.
Good.
You obviously can't check the speedometer until the vehicle is running properly.
We'll get to that.
We're gonna check windshield fluid.
Works properly.
Spray properly.
I keep Rain-X on the window, so we don't have to. It helps so much. I mean, just put some Rain-X on your window. You'll be able to see so much better, especially when it's raining. It helps keep a good surface, that it's easier to get bugs off your windshield and everything.
Yes. And one more important thing, you'll always want to make sure that the plates on your wipers are in good condition.
Yes.
Ours are kind of not great right now.
we need to
for a while.
Yeah, we need to get some more.
But make sure there are no abrasions, bumps, cuts, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Make sure the wiper arms, of course, are properly mounted and secured.
Properly mounted, secured.
The heater.
Yes. Runs properly. You can feel it. You want to put it on defrost. Check your defrost.
Turn it up.
Yep. Working good. Working good.
And then defroster, of course. I just turned it to defrost.
Yep. Now we can turn it back to cool because it's hot.
It's so hot. We're gonna check the gear shifter, which this is it.
Yep.
On ours.
Yep.
But if you have a manual, make sure it's properly mounted, secured.
Yep.
Check your floor to make sure it's clean. Nothing that will roll up under your pedals.
Yep.
That could be dangerous.
Yes.
And we have all kinds of stuff in the floor right now. But
We're not driving right now. We're in shift change and we've decided to do this video. So.
All right. So then we actually move on to our trailer brakes tub test.
Yes. So, with this, what we're going to do?
We're going to press in the trailer brake.
No, that's the parking brake.
The parking brake?
For the truck.
No. Pressing the tractor brakes,
Yeah.
which is the yellow button. Pushing the clutch, put in first gear if you have a manual. release the clutch slowly, and that will check the brakes.
Okay.
But what we have to do is put it in drive.
Yep.
Just let
Do
it
it to
move forward.
Yep.
And we're attached.
Yep.
So we're gonna follow that.
Put it back in neutral.
Put it back in neutral.
All right.
Push in the trailer brakes, which is the red button. Push in the clutch, put in first gear, release the clutch slowly, or put it in drive, and this is
Check the tractor brake.
Tractor brakes.
Good to go.
Perfect. Then we're going to push in both valves.
And this is where you check your speedometer.
Engage the clutch, you'll let your truck roll forward not more than 5 miles an hour. Keep both hands on the wheel and just roll forward. Make sure the wheel doesn't turn
Yep.
at all.
All right. Speedometer works.
Speedometer worked.
Okay.
Back in.
Obviously, this is for demonstration. We're sitting in a parking lot. We're not gonna roll out and, you know.
And then to check the service brakes, which is your normal regular brakes right here, the brake pedal on the floor.
Yeah.
You'll roll forward, make sure it stops.
Yeah. We
steering
already
wheel
did
does
that.
not pull.
That was part of the whole thing.
Right.
That kind of bends in together.
So then we'll make sure the pressure is to the governor cutoff on both air gauges. I think it's generally around 125, 120 PSI, if I remember correctly. Then we'll put the truck in first gear, turn off the engine, put off the clutch.
That would be
That's
with
it.
a manual. Now we're gonna go with the. Okay. You gotta do the cell. So I'm gonna do the cell check, which means system, applied brake test, emergency parking brake automatic, and low pressure warning and emergency parking brake automatic activation test. And that pretty much is going to make sure your brakes pop out automatically if you lose enough brake pressure. So a system check is just turning and checking all your lights, and ABS light comes on and off, which it does. Gauges do a sweep. As you can see, I'll do it again. They do a sweep. Everything does a sweep. Hold on. Let me try it again. You see the sweep. The speedometer and RPM don't do it. Anyway, it does it. All right. The air pressure stabilizes usually about 15 seconds. Oh, that's because I got it. All right. Air pressure stabilized. Roll down the window, listen for leaks. That means that what you want to do, you want to make sure that nothing's dropping down. Everything's stabilized. The air pressure stabilized. You want to wait about 15 seconds. You want to listen outside your truck and listen for any leaks. Now we're going to do the applied brake test. Okay, at this point, after doing the service brakes test, you're going to turn the engine off, turn the key back on. You're going to make sure everything does a sweep. At this point, the ABS light will comes on and goes off. Gauges do a sweep check. Allow the air pressure to stabilize and quit dropping. It's about 15 seconds. You're going to do an applied brake test. You can see the air pressure drop no more than 4 PSI. And you're going to hold this for about 60 seconds.
Exactly 60 seconds. I
You're going to
count it out.
1, 2, 3, all the way to 60. Especially on your test, you're going to have to count that.
Yes.
And that cannot, as you can see, it's got so much reflection on it. It's not dropped more 4 PSI. I bet in that video, I apologize in the video if nobody could see because of the reflection on there. It is hard to kind of see right now, but okay. I've counted that out. Now, I'm going to pump the brakes. I'll be able to see from this side. I'm going to pump the brakes. And I'm going to make sure that the buzzer light comes on before 60 PSI. And as you can see, right there's 60 coming up. There it goes. I got my brake warning, air supply low. Okay, now at this point, I'm going to continue to pump the brakes to make sure that both buttons pop out. As you can see, that one's about to pop out. Bam! Popped out. They both work. Okay. Now, that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys watching. I thank all of you for subscribing. Hopefully we'll get some more subscribers. And hopefully this informs you and helps you with your PTI and everything, especially like a weekly, really deep, good inspection and walk around. We love you all. What do we say?
Happy trails.
Happy trails!